My company talks to about 2,000 business owners a month, and the common trend that I've seen across all of them is the businesses that are doing less than $10,000 a month are by far the most dangerous. And oftentimes, what the person doing less than $10,000 a month is doing is trying to be new or novel or try something unique or different. There's a specific thing that venture capital funds look at when deciding which businesses to invest in, really what level of confidence they have in the business succeeding. And when they are looking at businesses that are either pre-revenue or not making a lot of money, there are some specific factors that they pay attention to judge how risky this business is or how dangerous it would be to invest their time or their money into this type of business. And unless you've been in the investing space for a long time or started and exited multiple businesses, it's very difficult to understand how that rationale works. And so I just wanted to explain a few things so that if you do have a business that is doing less than $10,000 a month, you know what to pay attention to, you know what to be aware of, and you know how to change your business so that it no longer provides an incredible amount of risk to you. And one of the biggest things that investors look at when you look at shows like Shark Tank, which are, mostly fake, but the first question they ask business owners when they present the product, when they have this genius idea that they try to sell to the investors, is how many of these have you sold? What is your revenue right now? How many total dollars of revenue have you brought in through your product? And this is kind of the characteristic that I'm talking about, which is businesses that have less than $10,000 a month in revenue. Usually incredibly unstable for multiple reasons. And it's because most people on average want to do something new. And there's a cognitive bias called novelty bias that completely explains it. Between a choice of doing something that is proven and old and potentially already tested, people would rather choose the new thing that has some kind of novelty to it that they haven't properly explored. And whether you start a business or not, you probably have experienced this when you're driving down the road, for example, and you see someone in another car and you think, oh my gosh, that's a really attractive person. Their hair looks amazing, their makeup is good, whatever, they've got cool sunglasses on, that looks like a cool person. And then you see them like a little bit later down at the stoplight where they get out of their car and you realize, holy smokes, that is not an attractive person at all. The only difference between those two instances is you had less information when you were seeing them through their car, 20, 30 feet away, and potentially through some tinted windows. You had less information. And the human mind fills missing information with the best positive traits. That's why when you get into a new relationship, it's called the honeymoon phase, because you haven't discovered all the bad stuff about that person yet. You haven't had a deep enough look into it. Same with businesses. You haven't fully explored your real business idea yet because you're under $10,000 a month in revenue. You're a small fish. Maybe you haven't made any revenue, so your business idea sounds genius. But once you actually get into the trenches, once you've had a couple hundred or a couple thousand customers, once you've made a few $1,000,000, you understand the problems that come with the business, and you either figure out ways to solve them, which make you a better business owner, or they take your business down. And that's why in the venture capital world, when you are looking to raise capital for your business, if you are pre-revenue, first, that's extremely risky. You're already on the back foot because you don't have evidence that your thing is even desirable. You have zero proof that you can actually make money from it. But you also have very little evidence collected of like what the weaknesses in the business are. A business that is doing $10 million a year is far more stable, far more investable than a business that is doing $1 million a year. And when you go to sell a business, you can see this in valuations. So like a smaller business, despite making the same amount of profit as a percentage of their top line revenue, or a good amount of profit at the end of the year, will simply sell for a lower total multiple than a larger business that has more total profit. So for example, a business that has $1 million profit will sell, maybe for a 4x multiple. Let's use an example. Those multiples range a lot. But a business that has $10 million a year in profit could sell for a 6x or an 8x multiple. And to a layman, it doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't you just buy 2 or 3 of the smaller businesses for a smaller multiple? Like if you were an investor, you'd have to pay less because you're paying less of the total net revenue per year to acquire a business. Why would you desire to pay more for essentially less profit on your dollar invested? And that's because with more profit comes more stability. They've figured out more things in their business because their business that's 10 times bigger than the smaller business. There's stability that comes with that. But let's say you are making $10,000 a month, essentially pre-revenue. Like the revenue that you've made is not significant at all for an investor to even consider in their calculation. If you're doing less than 6 figures a year, it absolutely isn't a large consideration for most investors. What they then take a look at is your previous track record. How many other businesses have you successfully started and exited, and what were those valuations? Because it shows that maybe the business isn't proven yet, but you as a decision maker, you as a business person is proven. If you have no previous exits, they would look at what other kind of money has been raised for the business so far. So what other investors have done their due diligence and signed their stamp of approval with hard cash to invest in this business. And if you don't have either of those, if you don't have revenue, if you don't have a serious track record in starting and exiting businesses before, if you don't have other investors on board who are notable and known as good decision makers, you're dead in the water. You're probably not going to get any funding for your business. And what that really means, whether you're trying to get funding for your business or not, is that other people don't think your idea is valuable. Other people don't care how novel or how new your idea is because they are sophisticated enough to overcome this novelty bias. They are smart enough to know that it's not just about finding the new idea, it's about finding the winning idea. And that's what actually makes you money. My toddler this morning had a brand new idea. It's probably never been done in the history of the world before. And if I was one of these new business owners who was excited by the idea of novelty at every opportunity to try something new that's never been done before, I probably would have absolutely praised my toddler for taking my strawberry 42-gram milkshake Fairlife protein and putting it into my KitchenAid toaster. But because I am not attracted by novelty, and I can see through that and understand whether it's a proven idea that has likelihood of being successful or having a good outcome, I can see past that. And that's the biggest differentiator between people that are under 10K a month or at 10K a month and the real big dogs that come through. The millionaire business owners, the people that have had multiple exits working with our marketing company, is that they understand that just because something is new, just because it's never been done before in the history of the world, that they're not going to give much weight to it. And in fact, they're probably going to give less weight to it than something that is proven. So if you're starting a new business, don't look at the new thing. Don't look at the thing that has never been done before that's probably a genius idea for you, because what's more likely is that you don't understand all the pitfalls with it. And when you look at new starting businesses and you consider how many businesses in each category make $10,000 a month, for example. When you look at new businesses, the failure rate is incredibly high for new businesses to ever make 6 figures a year. But when you look at plumbing businesses or electricians, you know how many plumbers or electrician businesses make less than $10,000 a month? Almost none of them. And it's not new, it's proven. And that's why, is because it's a business that is in high demand. So if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, you will have a much higher likelihood. The outcome for financial success is going to be way greater if you instead lean on something that is proven with a track record instead of trying your brand new thing that's never worked before. Because whether it is brand new or not, it actually doesn't matter until it makes you an incredible amount of stable revenue for your business. It's one of the things I love about business so much, is it really doesn't matter what other criteria you win on, because at the end of the day, the only criteria businesses care about is profit. How much money you take home at the end of the day. It's a great equalizer for everyone to be able to compete on the same key metric. Hope this helps. Hope this prevents you from losing a whole bunch of money and makes you some too.